And I still have such conflicted feelings about the Snoo. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if this is your first time here. Today's video is a very requested one. I get DMs on Instagram about this all the time, and I'm finally doing it, and it is my Snoo review. So if you're curious what I think about the Snoo and if I think it's worth it, then just keep watching. I've had, like I said, a lot of questions about doing this video, and I wanted to wait until I had like the full experience. So Liam is 4 months old today, and he's officially transitioned out of the Snoo. So I kind of wanted to wait until we'd used it for like a solid amount of time before doing this review. So really quickly, if you're unfamiliar with the Snoo, which I assume you know what it is if you're watching this, but maybe you just stumbled upon this and you don't know, the Snoo is pretty much a smart bassinet. It's definitely, I think, the most expensive bassinet on the market, and it's also the most tech savvy. So a few of the things that it does is it has a built-in sound machine and rocking motion that responds to baby's cries. So if baby is fussing or crying, then it like kicks up the motion and makes it go faster, and then it'll slow back down once baby is calmed. And it's basically supposed to help baby self-soothe, even though it's not self-soothing, but it's like supposed to help it soothe baby back to sleep for times when it's waking up, other than, you know, when baby's hungry or wet or whatever. Just basically the times when baby's just fussing, it's supposed to help baby go back to sleep. And it also is supposed to be the safest sleep option on the market because the sleep sacks that the Snoo comes with actually attach to the bassinet, so there's no possible chance for baby to roll over, so that baby is always on their back. So my husband Ben, if you are new to my channel, is very into technology. So when we came across this bassinet, he was all about it, and this was kind of the one baby product that we really splurged on because it is expensive. So I think on the website it retails for, I want to say $1,200. I think Amazon sells it for, don't quote me on this, maybe $875. We got it on sale on the website. They were doing a 40% off sale, and we got it for, I want to say, like around $700. So still very expensive, but if you read the reviews, you read the testimonials, people swear by this thing. They say that it like is the best thing ever. It replaces having a night nurse. Like, it makes your baby sleep so well. And I thought, this seems a little too good to be true, but sleep is the one thing that I was worried about most with having a baby. I don't do very well without sleeping. And so we decided that this was something we wanted to get. And the safety of it was a big selling point because as first-time parents, we were nervous. You're of course really nervous that every little thing is gonna happen to your baby, and just knowing that he was safe in there was a big selling point for us. So we got the Snoo. Now, in terms of my review, there are some great things about the Snoo and some things that I really, really dislike. Long story short, do I think that it helped him sleep better? Yes. That being said, he slept in the Snoo since birth until we transitioned him out recently to the crib, and I don't know how he would have slept otherwise. That being said, since transitioning out of the Snoo, he has not been sleeping as well as he has at times in the Snoo, but he also, at this stage in his life, is going through regressions, I think. We're pretty sure he's teething right now. He's going through mental leaps. So there's a whole bunch of factors that could be contributing to him sleeping better at various times in his life, of course. So again, long story short, do I think it helped him sleep better? Yes. Do I think that it's this miracle product that the testimonials swear by? No, because I don't think it helped him sleep that much better. So the things I do like about it, like I said, the safety was a really big one for us. We liked that he was strapped in, that we knew he wouldn't roll over, that he wasn't going anywhere, and he was safe in there. Love that part about it. That's huge. I also really like the rocking motion because babies are so used to moving when they're in the womb, and I know that a lot of parents wind up putting their babies to sleep in a rock and play or a swing, which is not as safe. And so I liked that this gave us that option for that movement, again, while keeping him safe. And he seemed to really like the motion. When he was very small, pretty much the whole time he was in the Snoo, there was a few phases where this wasn't the case, but for the most part, when I put him to bed at night, he went to sleep. He wasn't fussing, he wasn't fighting sleep. I know a lot of parents say they lay their babies in the bassinet and they're immediately awake, they cry, they don't go down. It takes hours to get them down. For the most part, I would put him in the Snoo, turn it on, and he was out. That was a big plus for us, and I really, really did like using it for that reason. I also really like that it comes with an app. The app itself, we'll get to, but I love that it comes with an app because the app tracks his sleep throughout the night. So it tells you when he went to bed based on when the Snoo comes on. If the Snoo kicks up at any point based on him crying, it indicates that in the app. It shows how long it's been kicked up, shows when it goes back down, it shows when it's been turned off, turned back on, so you can really track his sleep over a night. And there were times that I would look at the app in the morning and would realize that there was a pickup at some point during the night that I didn't even notice. I slept through it. It put him back to sleep. Now, for the most part, that didn't really happen. The Snoo didn't quite do what it said it would. Most of the time, if he woke up crying, the Snoo was not putting him back to sleep. Maybe he was waking up because he was hungry or he was wet or he was cold or whatever. But I think there was definitely times where he was just fussing and the Snoo did not put him back to sleep. But there was times that it did. Now, going to a negative about the app, just really quickly, this is small, but the app is terrible. Like, it needs updates big time. And when I say it's terrible, I mean that it would often freeze, it would shut down, it wouldn't load. Like, I would always, almost every time I opened the app, I had to close the app and reopen it again, which you can control the Snoo from your app. That's another thing that's really cool about it, is that if he's starting to fuss a little bit and the Snoo isn't picking up on its own, or you just know that maybe he's having a particularly rough night and you want to start him at a setting higher, you can do it on your app. You can also freeze it onto a setting, which I'll get to more so in a little bit later, but those are all things you can do from your app. And sometimes when you're like, okay, I really need to do this because baby's starting to fuss, like I don't want him to wake up, and your app is freezing and you have to restart it, and like that is the most annoying thing ever. So I love what the app does, but the app itself needs some serious work, which is so crazy to me that something that is so high tech has such a terrible app. This is another positive of the Snoo, is you can kind of adjust things to your liking. So the movement itself, the highest setting I thought was way too high. They say it's totally fine. Obviously it is if they're selling this product, but it shook him so hard that I was like, we're not doing that. So we eliminated that level. We just made it so that he wouldn't get to that point. So you can do that as well. And like I said, you can freeze it on certain levels. You can set it so that when you turn it on, maybe it always starts at level 2 rather than level 1. There's a lot of things you can do to customize it to you and your baby. So here is my biggest problem with the Snoo. And this is what I was worried about when I got it, was that I was gonna have a baby that hated to be swaddled. And look at what happened. I had a baby that hated to be swaddled. He hated having his arms down. And this is something we realized after a while. He hated having his arms down, and despite that, overall I was really not a fan of the sleep sacks. So as a mom of a baby who does not like having his arms down, it was frustrating that that was the only option for the Snoo, is that you could only use these specific sleep sacks to make it run because they have to be hooked in to make it work. And not only does he hate having his arms down, but the things I have problems with about the sacks are you Velcro his arms down around the belly and then zip it up. And for me, during nighttime feeds and diaper changes, having his arms down there by his waist like that and by his hips made it really, really difficult to feed him and to change him. It does have the zipper from the bottom, but his arms would be kind of in the way, and feeding him, it would ride, if I left his arms in, it would ride up. And so I wound up having to take him out of the Swaddle for nighttime feeds because he was just not comfortable. It just didn't work well. And getting him back into it would always wake him up because he hated having his arms down. And so I'd have to literally pin his arms down, try to Velcro him in, and then zip him up. And by that point, it would almost always wake him up. So I really didn't like the sacks themselves. And I didn't like that he had to have his arms down. It got to the point where he was clearly trying to fight his Swaddle and it was affecting his sleep. And so that's when we kind of jerry-rigged our Snoo. Now, I don't recommend doing this because it probably isn't the most safe thing, but I'm still telling you guys what we did because this is the review. That didn't work for us. Those sacks did not work for us. And it was either not use this very expensive product that we had, make my baby hate what he's sleeping in, or figure out some kind of in between. So what we did, we wound up getting him the Love to Dream Swaddle Up Swaddle. I've talked about this before. And we wound up cutting one of the Snoo sacks so that it would still hook into its hooks and Velcro around his belly outside of his swaddle, so that it still worked, but he wasn't in the sacks that they provide. And so because of this, I didn't want it speeding up really fast and causing him to like roll over, because of course he's not really in it as safely as before. So this was the time that we set the level to always be on the lowest motion. So it just really slowly rocked him all night. So we wound up completely not using the function of it picking up when he cries. But honestly, sometimes I felt like that woke him up more, and he seemed to do just fine with just having the slow rocking motion. Eventually, we wound up getting the DOUGHNUT and put the DOUGHNUT in the Snoo. Eliminated him having to be like strapped in with this jerry-rigged sack. We still left the sack in the Snoo so that of course it would turn on, but we put the DOUGHNUT in it and had him sleep in that, and that I feel like was his best sleep. We had him rocking really slowly on the lowest level with the DOUGHNUT and his swaddle up, and that I feel like is the time he slept the best. So the Snoo does have a weaning feature, which we never used because we kind of wound up weaning him ourselves by just setting him on the lowest setting, but it does have a weaning feature that I think will stop responding so much to their cries, you know, as you turn that feature on. But for us, we kind of self-weaned him to only have the rocking motion. And then eventually, before we transitioned him to his crib, we turned off the motion completely and had him just sleep in his DOUGHNUT. I have to say, he still slept so well in his Snoo without the motion. It's like he loved just the comfort of being kind of cozy in his DOUGHNUT in the Snoo. We've put him into his crib with the DOUGHNUT, and it's been like a whole nother thing. But like I said, I think he's teething now. There's just been a series of events that might be impacting his sleep. But so far, he has slept better in his Snoo than the crib. Let's see, is there any other pros and cons about it? Those are kind of like my main things I liked and my main things I didn't like. Now, this is where it's difficult, and this is why I wanted to wait to make this video, and I still don't have a clear answer. Do I recommend the Snoo? I don't know. It's hard to say because every baby is so different, and I ask myself, would I purchase it again? I don't know. Because parts of me are like, I just wish that I put my baby in the crib, because his crib is next to our bed. We have enough space for that now that we've moved. We did not in the beginning because we lived in a smaller apartment. But I feel like on my next baby, I almost might want to just put them in the crib straight away so that there's no transition. But if I didn't have that option, would I purchase the Snoo again? I think so. I think I would. But do I think that it is this miracle product that everyone swears by that's gonna change your life in terms of sleep? No way. It's still a baby. And unless you just have a miracle sleeper, they're still gonna wake up at night. There's still gonna be nights that it's impossible to put them down. There's still gonna be nights that they're up all night. Like, no, it's not gonna make your baby sleep through the night when they're 2 months old, unless that's what your baby does. So that's why it's so hard to recommend it or not recommend it, because it is such a hefty purchase and kids are so different. So that's kind of my conclusion, and I feel like that's not a very good answer. Would I recommend it? Yes. I think it did help his sleep, but is it life-changing? No. So if it's something that's not really in your budget, I think you could probably pass on it. If it's something that you could afford and you want to try it, then I think it's worth it. But like, if you are putting your money towards this when there's something else that like you really want that's a more expensive product that you would like not get otherwise, maybe get the other product. It's so hard for me to say exactly, and I know that's not really the answer you want, but it's just every baby is so different. And I still have such conflicted feelings about the Snoo. I'm a little frustrated that we paid that much money and I didn't think it was as great as I expected it to be. That's kind of my answer, is it wasn't worth what we paid for it, but there are some features that are really, really great about it and I think did help him sleep, but it's not a miracle. That's my conclusion. So you guys can make a decision based on your baby. If you have a baby already that's like a horrible, horrible sleeper and nothing's working and they're only wanting to sleep with motion, like a swing or something, and this is in your budget, then it might be a really great option for you that I think could help sleeping. If you have a baby that's already sleeping well, then you probably don't need it. I think maybe my recommendation would be wait to buy it, see how your baby sleeps, or buy it. They do have a 30-day money guarantee back thing, which we bought ours too early because we just thought we were gonna love it. So buy it in that window so that you can return it. One other thing I forgot to mention is the reason we have transitioned him out of it is because he's already grown out of it. It's supposed to last till 6 months. Liam's a little on the big side, but he's not huge. He already started to grow out of it to the point that he would kick his legs at night and would hit the sides and make a ton of noise. So that's why we transitioned him out. So that's another negative, but that's kind of the case with all bassinets. You don't know how big your baby's gonna be or how long they're gonna last in them. So I hope this video was helpful. I know it wasn't like a yes, get it, or a no, don't get it, but it's at least giving you a little bit more information from somebody who has used it, and it's not, and I don't have a raving, this is amazing product review, so it gives you a little bit more insight. So if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. I'm feeling very fall today, even though it's going to be 90 degrees here today in October. Yeah. And another big